Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with a Stay at Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo.
Welcome back, everybody. And on this episode, we're going to get into a little Bravo tea. I have one thing to say. Hallelujah to all of you that are parents listening, that your kids started school this week. Our oldest just started. And I'm like, praise the Lord Jesus. As Melissa Gore would say, thank you, Jesus. It's just been a long summer home with the two of them. Her and her sister have been getting into like some sibling squalors all summer and just had to break it up a lot. Then our little one starts preschool next week. So then I will be getting into doing some more even exciting things, having more guests on. So stay tuned for all that. Very excited to have a little alone time to dedicate some more time to all of you guys and giving you what you want. So let's just get into all the Bravo tea. I have it, I feel like from all realms of all the shows, little tidbits. So we are finishing up the Tom Girardi trial. It's coming to an end. They're all gonna decide his fate soon. And I am like just wondering what is gonna happen because they're really still playing up the dementia. He was like forgetting who his lawyer was. So he has a public defender because also he's like acting like he's poor as well. And he's called him mean and scary during the trial. And I think that is not only to play up the dementia, but it's to maybe say he got an unfair trial or like an unfair public defender because you can actually do that. And like maybe he's taking advantage of him and then he could get a retrial. So I don't know. I don't put it past him to try anything or people around him that are helping the situation. It's like they can't even dress the man for court. It's like he has baggy pants on, bedroom slippers, and like ill fitted clothing. And it's just crazy. He's also saying that he believes Girardi Keese is still running and operating as a business. He said he never ever took anybody's money. But I mean, how can you believe anything he says because he's saying he has dementia? And obviously it took people's money because there was a whole Hulu documentary and we saw the lavish lifestyle that you and Erica lived.
It's expensive to be made.
So I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, he did the crime. He needs to do the time. It's sad he has dementia now and looks really old and worn, but maybe it's the stress of him being a demon taking all these people's money. I don't know. Maybe his soul is now like collapsing, but I think he should go to jail. I'm sure, like I have said in past episodes, that there is like a jail for old people with Alzheimer's or with just troubled people. I don't know. He should go to jail though. So we shall see, and I will keep everyone updated on what happens with that. But then we got Vicki getting a bad sinus infection. So we remember she had that like staph infection on the show, and I was like, ew, that's gross. So now I saw today she had a sinus infection and it spread, and then it got really bad, and she almost didn't make it. Now, ironically, there was a rerun I was watching, and it was talking about how she was going along faking Brooke's cancer. And then no one brought her casseroles and stuff for him. Or when she needed a casserole, no one brought it to her. So I'm like, is Vicki fabricating this sickness to get a casserole? Perhaps. That's so mean to say. But I mean, a sinus infection and it got that bad. And she said she like almost didn't make it. Like she had 10% chance of living. And I'm like, what, from a sinus infection? I don't know. That's just a little crazy. I'm going to try and read more into it, but I was like, what? And Shannon made like a post like, oh, I'm going to be there for you and I love you and I'm close with you and blah, blah, blah. Like Dos Amigas. No, she didn't say Dos Amigas, but that was nice that Shannon posted that. And then Kelly Dodd posted something about her too. They need to be the new Trace Amigas. I'm telling you. I think that would be good. I think a lot of people don't like Kelly Dodd though. So maybe that's why they wouldn't do that. But I don't know. I feel like if people like Vicki and Shannon, they like Kelly Dodd because they're like a little package. But Vicki has been going hard in the comments these days. So I don't know if that was like karma getting her with the in sinus infection going bad, or like if Alexis or Tamara have voodoo dolls and they're putting like a hex on Vicki. But I just saw a post today, and it was Alexa yammering on, or Alexa, Jesus, Alexis yammering on about how she thinks Emily is different off camera, and then that's not the Emily she knew, and blah, 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 blah. So Emily wrote under it, and the award for zero self-awareness goes to ... Emily's given it to me all this season. She's funny. She's sarcastic. She gets it from the best, her husband, Shane. And she's just given 0 Fs, and she's going to comment Alexis. And I like it because Alexis has no business talking about some of these ladies, because you're not even a cast member, let alone an actual friend of. I feel like I don't even think she's really a friend of, because she's not going to go on the cast trip. And usually even friends of go on that. It's because Shannon was like, I'm planning this, so you can't come. And then Vicki also writes under the little video, "Go away, Alexis. You have no place on RHOC other than trying to hurt Shannon. Go back to your job, ... Oh, that's right. You don't work." Ooh. Oh my God. Always leave it to somebody to get catty when like they really don't like someone. I love it. I love it. Just keep giving it to Alexis, because I don't like her at all on the screens. So just keep those comments coming, because I enjoy to read them. But speaking of comments that I did not enjoy to read, I don't know if this was old, but it was a post that surfaced this weekend, and it was from Tamara's daughter that she does not talk to, Sydney. And it was a Facebook post, but it looked kind of old because her name up there, it said Sydney Barney. And the way the font was, I was like, I feel like Facebook font doesn't look like that anymore. And this could have been an older post, but she went on and on about how Tamara has like kind of dug her own grave with the relationship. I would read it, but it's like literally a novel. It would take me 30 minutes to read it. And it was really sad. I read the whole thing, and it was like, she ruined our relationship. A therapist and my dad wanted me, and it was like court ordered for her to go to therapy with Tamara. And Tamara is selfish, and she cares about fame more than them. She lived with her for a couple years right after the divorce. And she said she would leave them for long periods of time and there'd be no food in the house. And I'm like, what? Like, meaning when she's like filming? And then she said that she's asked her repetitively to not talk about her on camera, but she always does. And I guess if she doesn't, she'd have no storyline, and then she'd be fired from the show, and then her whole world would be over. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, she was like really giving it to her. She's like, my mom said that my father is the reason we don't speak, but it is her. And she actually is the one that would like slander him to us. If we were being bad, she'd call us little Simons, or, oh, you're just like your father. And I was like, oh my God. Now I know that when you do go through a divorce, and as you can see, Tamara and Simon did not like each other at the end. Remember in the limo when she was like, F you, I want a divorce. I want a divorce. And I was like, oh shit. That was awkward. Thank God that camera was in there to catch that though. And I knew she said it because she probably wanted it. And she's like, oh, this will be good TV if I say it on camera. But also if you say it on camera, you better put your money where your mouth is and get the divorce. But anyone that goes through a divorce is not going to have very nice things at the beginning to say about the other person, but you can't say it in front of the kids, and you can't say it to the kids. At the end of the day, that's their dad or that's their mom, and you can't badmouth to them because it's only going to hurt them. Like, look, where did it get Tamara? She's badmouthing Simon. Now that daughter actually doesn't talk to Tamara, so it kind of blew up in her face and backfired. And she said that her dad, so Simon, made Sydney invite Tamara to her graduation. I have a feeling she posted this like right after her graduation, which I feel like was like a year or two ago. And this was just resurfacing. But she said that she begged her not to put up pictures or anything, and a week goes by and she puts up pictures for all her millions of followers, or a million followers to see, and she just can't stand that Tamara doesn't respect her privacy and that she wants to be, kind of left out of it, which a lot of these kids do. Like, not all of them want to be on camera. And then a lot of them can't be on camera if people are divorced. Like Lala said, that's why she doesn't have Ocean on because Randall won't approve it. And I feel like it's because he's annoying. Because I think if they were still together, he'd be like, oh, yeah, I don't care if she's on camera. I think he's just doing this to get under her skin because he can. And like Sutton's kids couldn't be on camera until they're 18 and then they can choose themselves. And that's why Tamara's other daughter that she does have a relationship with, Sophia, is on the camera now. But that's got to be really hard. I feel bad for Tamara. But some of those things were pretty wild in there. I mean, I could see Tamara probably bad mouthing Simon to them because she was bitter and mad at him, but not a good look. And that's pretty crazy. The daughter put all that. And she's like, I will never talk to my mother. I will never have a relationship with my mother. And I was like, oh, shit. And Vicki even said a long time ago, nobody ever asked Tamara, oh, why don't you talk to your daughter? She's like, because no one wants to go there. And I think that's what Shannon was insinuating on the last episode, which is like, Tamara kicks you while you're down and goes for the low blows. I could do that too, but I don't. And I think Shannon is referring to this. Like, she could definitely hit it where it hurts. Excuse me. And everyone gets sensitive about their kids. So, like, Tamara kind of wants to be a little mean to Shannon about the drinking or think that that's going to make her change by embarrassing her on camera. If Shannon even said all this stuff about her daughter on camera, how would she feel? This is way worse than thinking Shannon just hits that Grey Goose bottle, or what was it? She always had Belvedere, too hard. But in some positive news about another daughter, we have Melania going off to college, the University of Tampa. So Teresa and Louie moved her all in. She's going to be in the warm sunshine state, unlike Gabriella, who's in freezing Michigan. So I'm sure Teresa will love to visit Melania. And Melania said she picked her school also based off of where Joe Giudice lives. So the Bahamas was close to New Jersey, but it's even close to Florida. And that's going to be great. I looked it up. The flight is like an hour and a half or something from her. So that's great. So she'll probably go see him even more. Just think she could go on like the weekend or like a long weekend as much as she wants. Or like if she wouldn't have class on Friday, she could go every single weekend. I really don't know how much the plane tickets are. And she's a single person. She could probably get a cheap deal, but I'm sure she would go every single weekend just to see Joe. And being that close, I could see Melania like almost living there for a summer or something, doing like an internship in the Bahamas. That would be fun. We could get Bravo cameras down there. I keep saying like, thought it would have been so fun if they did a cast trip to the Bahamas and saw Joe. That would have been so much fun. I need to get Juicy Joe back on the camera. You know what I mean? Like, Trey, forget about it. Forget about it, Trey. Melania, she could be like, give me pizza, you old troll. Back on camera again. But then we got some negative Nancy's out in the Bravo universe. I know I already talked about Brandy Glanville, but she is still at it. Just relentless with the Andy Cohen thing, revealing all these text messages, sending them in. They're stupid. Like, it's like literally she talked about how Eddie Ciprian, her ex-husband or whatever, was a 9 in bed. And then later, Andy texted her, like, after she was on Watch What Happens Live, and he was like, hope you got home safe. Still can't believe Eddie's in 9 in bed. You're considering that sexual harassment? Like, girl, relax. Everyone is just too much these days. I know you could sue people for whatever you want, and some people just do it for money so they can shut people up. And this is what she's doing, I think. Because I think she just wants Bravo to pay her out. Like, it's almost like she's like threatening, and she's hoping they'll just be like, oh my God, here's blah, blah, blah money just to go away. But it's not worth it. You've now ruined it. You're never, ever, ever going to be on TV again. Like, not just Bravo. I don't think anything. So good luck with that. No one probably wants to listen to your podcast before. No one wants to listen now. She doesn't model anymore, to my knowledge. And she's saying that she's suffering, can't do her podcast because of all this and can't work. And I'm like, you don't have a job. It's just your podcast. And you probably don't do your podcast because you kind of suck at it and no one's listening to it. Like, I don't know. Can't blame Andy Cohen's text messages of saying, oh, what about you and Austin Kroll hooking up? Like he seems interested. That is not sexual harassment. And she's like the furthest to even go there with this stuff. I mean, all the Caroline Manzo stuff. And even though she's taken it to the grave that she is like justified and whatever, I don't know. She always is like starting stuff. She always want to like make out with girls and take her clothes off and get like drunk. And I don't know. She bothered me before. She sometimes was entertaining ish because she would like stir up drama and kind of was the punching bag. So I'm like, whatever. She was like a Danielle Staub. You don't necessarily like Danielle Staub for her, like quality of her personality, but you liked her for like stirring the pot and being the villain-esque, as I would say. Because if you don't really like somebody, you don't care that they're the villain and everyone's going to come after them. So Brandy was kind of that for me. It's like, okay, well, if we need someone to be the villain, it might as well be Brandy because I don't really like her anyway, and she gets on my nerves. So I thought that was always entertaining to have her around, but now, not no more. She better find something else to do because it's not going to be anything in the entertainment industry. Maybe she could be on OnlyFans with Denise Richards. Because remember all that big, like, I still don't know if that's true, if they hooked up. I'd love to know. She's taken that to the grave too. And then Denise Richards is like now, like acting all prude and holier than thou. But I don't know. I could see it getting flirty, but I don't think so. I don't think they like did anything. Or it was Brandy coming on to Denise and Denise was trying to be nice and like not really fighting her off and was like, oh, whatever. Like, I don't think they had a full blown hookup. In Brandy's brain they did. And again, stirring the pot just to be on TV. I think she was saying all that and filming with Kyle and Kim. She probably told Kim, she's like, oh, you got to tell my sister Kyle on camera. And she's like, oh, good. Now I can be on camera, trying to get back in the mix, trying to get a little paycheck, squeeze it out of Bravo for her to pop in and have some gossip. But then we have Zach and Kristen from the Valley changing the name of the bar, Jax's Studio City, for the night to Brits. So I saw that picture and I was like, oh my God, are they changing the bar name like officially because he's not to be found anymore? But I think he came home last week, what I thought, or he said he was. Like he saw Lala and Sheena filming for the Valley and he made a run for it like Forrest Gump to not have that happen and have them be like full-time cast members or even full-time friends of. I heard Sheena's like a full-time friend and that Lala's going to film a lot too, which stinks. I don't know why they think, oh, Jax isn't really here, but he probably was at the very, very beginning. And then there's just like a period of time he's not. And now he's going to be back on it. And I'm sure they want him to film if he's allowed, which he says he's going to come back and film full speed, full capacity. I don't know why they thought we needed Lala and Sheena because we have tons of people and tons of drama organically on that show. We don't need the puppet masters coming on. I feel like they're mini Lisa Vanderpumps, like planning the drama, which I don't want. But a lot of people were attacking Brittany or Zach and Kristen for changing the name for the night because some people are like, oh, how dare you do this? And Jax is suffering. And Zach just took to Instagram and told everybody,
Ha ha, laugh, funny.
it's a joke. It's a joke, everybody. He's just trying to get a smile from good old Kentucky Muffin Brittany over there because even though she was already separated with Jax, this was very stressful for her because at the end of the day, that's still Cruz's dad. It's always going to be Cruz's dad. And they do co-parent together, have to give them both a gold star for that. And they were still spending time together and doing a lot together with him or for him. So now she's doing it all by herself. I just listened to her podcast. She had her mom on it because her mom stays the whole month of August with her. And she's like, thank God I had my mama out here this month because it's just been real hard doing everything myself. And good old Sherry with that frosted lipstick and over tan skin was out there. And she's like, now, Brittany, I told you as soon as I get here, though, I got to get my toes in the sand on the beach. And she's like, now, you people in LA don't really go to the beach. But as I was like, I got to get to the beach. So we went to Malibu and I like it there. Oh, they were funny. And then they were talking about like the house that she grew up in Kentucky was like so haunted that she didn't even want to go inside the house when she got home from school. She had to like wait for someone. She was like 7 years old. And then her mom was like, yeah, and I didn't want to go downstairs in the basement and do laundry when I was alone in the house. Like, that is so scary. Why would you live there? Like, why would you even buy the house? I feel like were the ghosts like well behaved during the showing when you walked through the house? Like, I feel like if it's haunted, they're not going to take a day off from haunting it. You'd know that day. And then they said the water would turn on in like the bathtub all by itself. No one's even in there. Like, no. And then Brittany said one night she saw a mist cloud. That's a ghost. Like, we've all seen movies or we've watched that Paranormal Activity late at night. That's scary. I know here in Delaware, so like at Fort Delaware, where all the war stuff was, that's supposed to be very haunted. I've seen a lot of videos. I went there in like middle school, but during the day for a tour, so we didn't see any ghost activity. But I've seen videos of people there at night, and it's like literally like a Confederate soldier almost like looking, just walking by, and I'm like, oh my God, there's the mist cloud of a ghost. And Brittany could verify what they look like because she said they were living in her house. But that would be really scary. I would definitely want to move. I wouldn't even care if I lose all my money. So if the house is haunted, I'm moving. And if I have a burglary and a life-threatening situation in it, I'm moving like Dorit and PK. Speaking of that too, I saw it was PK's birthday. He posted that he's still living that sober life. And Dorit even posted a picture of all of them. I mean, it could have been an old picture, but it didn't look that old. But I don't know if it was like taken that day. And she's like, happy birthday, PK, and everyone was like writing under it like, oh my God, get back together. I do wonder if they like would get back together because him not drinking seems like that is a positive change that he's obviously making for himself and his kids, but maybe even her too. But I really think it was how he like was still handling the PTSD of the robbery. But that's what I mean. Like, move, just get out of the house. Like I said, I don't even care if we lose all the money. Let's just please leave this house so I have like mental sanity and our marriage doesn't fall apart. I also think they have a lot of financial issues, like allegedly. I just think that, and I feel like a lot of people have always said that and hinted that. So I don't know if that could be part of it, but we shall see what happens with that. I feel like all the ladies are going to be single this season on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which is kind of going to be interesting. I feel like they should take them like on speed dating. That would be really fun. Because remember how we got a little bit of that with Sutton last season with like, I feel like she was like a millionaire matchmaker, honestly, but she was the millionaire and everyone else was just like whatever. But I feel like she just won't find a companion. She's kind of quirky. Then I saw a video of her and Kathy Hilton over the weekend, like singing karaoke. God, I can't wait to see Kathy Hilton back on the show because she is just so funny. Like, remember that time when they were in Aspen? Was that the trip that like she had like the meltdown? But before shit hit the fan, she was like sharing a bed with Kyle, and she like cracked open a Red Bull, and it's like sleeping time. It's like 1 a.m. And Kyle was like, what are you doing? And Kathy's like, what do you mean? And she's like, why are you drinking a Red Bull? It's 1 a.m. And she was like, oh, I just thought this was a regular soft drink. Like, what do you mean, Kathy? You grabbed it from the refrigerator. And then they all woke up the next day and she was like sleeping in, and they all went skiing and she's like sleeping in. She's like, I'm not waking up and doing this shit. And she doesn't have to. She wasn't a full-time cast member. And then she brought like her own like portable fan. That was so funny. She's just so funny because she's so rich. So she just doesn't care. Like, she doesn't need to impress anybody or do anything because she's like, freaking Kathy Hilton. I don't care what you people think of me because I'm Kathy Hilton. I know who I am and who I'm married to, so I don't care. It's like she showed up at Kyle's house in those like airport or like hotel slippers that you get at the hotel. Like they are like a styrofoam board with like fabric on it. Like it's nice that they have them there, but they're not comfortable at all. And she like wore those through the airport, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, don't you care if people see you?" And she's like, "No one saw me." And she's like, "You're Kathy Hilton. Like everyone saw you." Like it's like, hello, everyone knows who you are. It's not like if you would see me in the airport, no one cares. It just be like, oh, whatever that like hobo was wearing, like styrofoam and cheap slippers. She's like, this is what I travel in. So funny. But to end some of the gossip on a I Wonder portion, James Kennedy posted a video saying that he hasn't heard from the producers from VPR where these shows stand. So I don't know if he is going to get in trouble for posting that also, but I guess it's like common knowledge. I don't really think he'd get in trouble, but he was almost hinting that like, oh no, like maybe there's not going to be a show because I'm like not hearing about anything, and normally we'd be hearing about something, even though they did say they were going to take a long pause, just like Jersey. So none of the ladies in Jersey, or I feel like the people on VPR, should be alarmed they're not hearing from anyone, because they did say they're going to take a little pause. But a source has come forward since he posted that and said that they are doing multiple and intense interviews at Tom Tom and Sir for potentially a whole new cast of people that actually work for Lisa in her restaurants, which, first of all, I think it would be cool to integrate between the two restaurants, because we basically always just got Sir, because by the time Tom Tom opened, no one really worked at Sir anymore. So it was just more about the Toms opening Tom Tom, and no one really worked at Sir. And I think this would be very interesting, as long as everyone's going to be cool, because when they did like integrate some new people on VPR, I was like, no. Like when they did the Dana, Brett, Max, Danica season, I was like, no, bye. Because I could have tolerated Dana, but I couldn't tolerate her with the Brett and Max love triangle, and then Sheena getting like jealous every 5 seconds that Dana, who was single, getting with them. Was Sheena single? No, because then she was like buying that penguin for that other guy. God, Sheena was a damn mess. Thank God Brock scooped her up and saved her from all her humiliation and desperation with all these men. But I hated that season. I hated those guys. Thank God they got fired. I would be really sad to see some of the people on Vanderpump Rules leave. So if they did a whole new cast, I would be sad. I think it would be fun if they did like kept James Kennedy, because we got to stay up on James because he can't go to the Valley. He doesn't have kids. That would be weird placement for him. So he has to stay on Vanderpump Rules, because I can't do without seeing James Kennedy, because his rants and his quotes are just too funny.
Take an order, Jax. They need to take an order. We need to get more cosmopolitan. Hot teenage.
I mean, I can't not see his face on TV. And now Allie is turning into like a miniature Taylor Swift. Always see her releasing songs on Instagram. Like, I want to follow up with them and keep up with Hippie, aka formerly known as Graham Cracker. Whatever, Lala and Sheena will probably frickin' just stay on the Valley, like unbeknownst to us wanting that. So they can be off VPR. And then let's have like Katie and Ariana, and we could pop in the sandwich shop too, because that's restaurant related. And Schwartzy can be on there, but Tom Sensival is exiled. He's no longer welcome. I think it would be a good idea, because I guess the Toms are still involved in Tom Tom. I don't know. I feel like Lisa is trying to buy them out and turn Tom Tom into Pump. So when Pump closed, she took that like iron thing, decorative thing that you like walked under, and put it in front of Tom Tom. It was kind of goofy because it literally said Pump, and then you're walking into Tom Tom. And then they started doing the Pump brunch at Tom Tom. And obviously she brought some of the workers over from Pump because she felt bad. She probably even put some at Sir too. But Peter was on a podcast. I don't remember whose it was. And it was like, I listened to it like like the clip 2 weeks ago, and he said, I really have a feeling that like she's going to buy the Toms out and that she's just going to turn Tom into Pump, which would be kind of weird. I mean, I feel like she wanted to do all that with the Toms because people wanted to come in and see them, or like, oh, I hope the Toms are going to be there. Let's go grab a drink, because no one was really ever at SUR anymore because no one worked there. So she was probably like, oh, let's pivot and come over here, and then you guys can film here and stuff, and it'll give people like a new evolution of coming into SUR, and you're going to see these people working there or eating there. And now with the whole Scandival, she's like, I don't want you anywhere near these things because you're just like shitting it up. like Pigpen, no one wants to be around you. And then once he sued Ariana, check done, bye. So I think Schwartz would be smart to stay away. And him and his girlfriend followed Tom Sandoval's girlfriend. She's like a Looney Tune. They're both Looney Tunes. I mean, obviously he likes Looney Tunes. I'll just chalk it up to Ariana was too normal for him, and he needed to go off with Looney Tune number 1, Raquel, and now he has Looney Tune number 2, Victoria, because she's a little piece of work. She's just mental as well. So I don't know. I don't even know if Ariana would come back to Vanderpump Rules because she is booked and busy. She's still doing Chicago, and I saw clips of her singing. Literally fantastic. If people want to think that she's just being handed all this stuff because she got cheated on and she doesn't deserve it, not only do I not find anything wrong with that happening and her grabbing at the opportunities because she should, she deserves to be on Broadway because she has such a good voice. I never even knew that. And it's probably because goofball Tom Sandoval is drowning our ears out with those covers he does, which are terrible. And I feel like refinanced his whole house just to pay that band to do that tour. We never even knew, like, Ariana could have done it. Ariana and the most extras. She has an amazing voice. She is not dragging them down by any means. She is meant to be there and deserves to be there, and good for her. It's like if Lala would have gotten all of these opportunities after Randall, she would have been like, oh, everyone's just jealous that I'm getting these opportunities and they're not, but I deserve it. It's like Sheena would have too. Like, let's say after she had to divorce Shay because he like stole all their money and bought drugs with it, she would be like, oh, well, I deserve to do this, this, and this. But it's just like I feel like out there it's very competitive. And especially when you're on a show, it's like someone has to be Queen Bee of the show, or Queen Bee King, I guess, because just one is going to be like the main person, or always get the interviews, or always get invited places, and kind of like the spokesperson for the show. So I feel like Ariana went from never being that to all of a sudden turning into that. And people are like, oh, well, no one ever cared about her until now. And it's like, okay, so like that happens to everybody, honestly. Like Jersey Shore, when it first started, no one really liked Snooki like the first couple episodes, and then she got drunk and got punched by that guy in the face, and everyone got so mad, and then like she turned into like the fan favorite, I feel like, from the house and the audience. So I say get it, girl, get your bag, because she's still paying for that demon to live in that house while she has to pay for a whole nother house because she couldn't bear to suffocate herself in that master bedroom and bathroom one more time. So I think it's going to be sad if it's totally done for Vanderpump Rules, just like I'm going to be sad if that's the case for the Real Housewives of New Jersey. But sometimes change is good and change is fun. And if we keep some familiar faces, I'm okay with the change. Like I said, I think keeping James and Allie would be fun because he could still DJ. And then maybe even having Schwartzy pop in and out. And then we could check on the sandwich shop with Katie and Ariana. But then, yeah, maybe pass the torch down to these young bucks that are going to get wild, crazy. They're still living in apartments, driving Honda Civics. That's what I want to say. The old episodes of these people being poor, now they're all rich. And I'm like, ugh, whatever. Like, Lala has a house in Palm Springs and in LA and pays for a driver to drive her around in a Maybach. So I'm like, no, you're not the girl that was essing some D for Range Rovers anymore, living in a studio like apartment. That's what I want to see, honestly. And speaking of that, she should be having her baby soon. So that's going to be very interesting when we see the baby be born, because this baby is going to be all to herself. And it's going to be sad and I think really difficult for Ocean when it's time for her to spend time with her evil father, who looks like Ed from 90 Day Fiance. She's not going to want to leave Lala and the baby because she's going to feel very left out. And that's going to be something really difficult that Lala's going to have to deal with and work through. It's good that she has her mom and is close with her, and then has her brother, and honestly, her assistant might as well be her freaking family member as well. But that's going to be really tough on her, so I do feel bad for that. But it's going to be nice that Ocean's going to have a playmate, and it's going to be nice for Lala to have another child that is with her full time, because I couldn't imagine not seeing her kids all the time. But you know what? I'm going to leave off on the note. If you're in a relationship that is not working, it is better to have two happy households than one evil, toxic, miserable household. Because not only is it bad for you and bad for your spouse, it's bad for your child. And then they're going to grow up miserable. And then they're probably going to go find a toxic relationship. And it's kind of going to put the blame on it's all your fault for not wanting to rip the Band-Aid off. Yes, obviously at first it's rough, but then people transition and it's for the better. And obviously it's good that she's not with Randall, but it is going to be difficult when the new baby comes and Ocean is going to kind of just feel a little left out. It's going to be a work in progress, but who knows? Maybe something, but like maybe Randall will go to jail for all that casting couch whatnot, and then Ocean won't see him. I don't know. I'm not wishing that on him, but it also seems like he doesn't see her like rudiment schedule. I don't know. And I need to know. Okay, this is promise where I'm leaving off. I need to know what Lala has him in court for. I don't know. It's like the casting couch stuff. Kind of at the end of the day, that kind of has nothing to do with the kid, but it could affect her life. But she always says she's like in a battle with her ex in court, and I need to know. And she's like, it's not settled. And it's like, I want to know what it says. I know she can't say it, but I mean, she kind of could. All these people do talk about their court issues, but I need to know. But it is going to be exciting to see more on that, because I hope we don't fully get those people out of our lives, because once they're on these screens for a long time, I don't want them to go. It's like we need to have the OG cast and then a new cast, but like Bravo needs to figure out just paying these people a little less so we could keep everybody honestly all together. So I am going to be down the Delaware Beach this weekend. Fun fact, that's where Craigie Conover is originally from. So I will keep eyes peeled to see if he's there for Labor Day weekend. I probably won't be releasing an episode on Saturday, so happy Labor Day to everybody. But I am going to bring my microphones down the beach, and I'm going to be with my sister-in-law and her daughter, Natalie, who I had on my podcast before. So maybe, hopefully, I'll get them to record with me, and we will recap the Real Housewives of Orange County, because we're going to have to watch it down there. We're going to have some homework in Lewis, Delaware down the beach. And we will also keep our eyes peeled for Craigie. We will hunt him down. And if we would see Paigey, that would be an extra added bonus. But I hope everyone has a lovely Labor Day weekend, and you can catch me next week on the episode for the Real Housewives of Orange County recap, and I'll do a little more Bravo tea.
As always, this was so fun, and you could find me on Instagram at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom, Spotify, and Apple. Till next time, see ya.